Facebook. Got a lot of really cool shows coming up. And this is where my play my own music, and for people that really want to hear original music with purpose and heart. So thank you.
Dribble down onto your card like that. Now to help find your card, you're going to use this card here on top, the king of cards, right? Now watch.
My last song. Thank you, Abby. Thank you. To everyone that's here, I'll be walking around and trying to meet everyone. Thank you. Keep on good time. It's on Spotify. It's a live performance track of me on piano. I have a music video out for it. And this song changed my life. So I hope you enjoy.
Like that, get it to turn into the queen of spades.
That was really cool.
Today we are going to learn the shake change. Looks a little something like this. We take a card, and in the act of either shaking that card, just like moving it up to our sleeve or something, we can change that card into another card. Let's first learn some terminology. A color changes any time one card is seen to change into another. They're very flourishy. Magicians are pretty divided about how useful they are. I love color changes. I think if you really want to convince your spectators that you can perform miracles, color changes are a good way to go about it. And if you want to do magic on social media, color changes are all the rage. So how do we do this one? We have the card we want to change into second from the top, and we need to get a pinky break under that card. Now, the way I think you should do this, which you won't hear me say that often, by the way, there's a million ways to skin a cat, as it were. That's kind of macabre. There's a million different ways to do things in magic. However, as far as getting a pinky break goes, the pinky count I find to be infinitely superior to any other method. What is a pinky break? A pinky break is just getting the itty bitty part of our flesh right in there under a card or any number of cards. You can push the card over and pull it back, just right over the end of your pinky there. You can riffle up the back to get your pinky in there. But the thing is, like, these are all obvious. Even if you wrist kill to hide the pushover, it still doesn't look anywhere nearly as good as just the pinky count. That's it, now I've got my break. And this move is useful for a lot of things where you need to have a break under more cards. Now I won't lie to you and tell you that the pinky count is easy, it's not. It takes a lot of work, and if I get some requests for a video on teaching the pinky count, I will, but I wanted to start out with some more beginner-friendly sleights. So anyway, we get a pinky count under 1. When this card comes back to the deck face up, we're going to steal off that other card. So we now have 2 cards back to back like this. We're then going to come over the top with our right hand, and our middle finger is going to go on the pipped corner far away from our body, the pips being the numbers. Our thumb is going to go on the pipped corner near our body, and we're just going to hold like this. And it can also help if you give the card just a little bend upwards, not downwards, upwards. All right, and here is the entire mechanics of the change. You're going to extend your finger, and you're going to do that. That is it. That's why this is such a beginner-friendly move. However, if you were to just do this, that's going to look incredibly obvious. So in magic, we have a saying, the large motion hides the smaller motion. So in the act of a shake, we can get it to morph like that. As I did in the opening, some magicians will just pull it up to their sleeve too to change the card. Another thing I like doing if I perform with this live is you'll notice when we twirl the card, the position of this corner changes. It's up high now it's down low. So it's kind of a discrepant thing. If I were to sit here next to the deck and do this, you would now see that that corner is over the deck. And some people will spot that. Most won't, but some will. So something I like doing with this, if I'm live, is holding it here, giving it a little shake next to the deck, and then turning my arm so it stays aligned with this side of the deck. Another good reason to do it next to the deck here is because of this next step. We're going to take these 2 cards, and we've got our dirty card on the back, drop it on top of the deck, and then just peel off 1 card. And in doing so, we have now ditched the dirty card. Now, something I learned from Pig Cake watching his videos is that often the best way to practice is to practice in context, to practice something in the course of a trick. So I came up with a trick that's really, really quick. I performed it at one of my gigs last night, And I'm going to teach it to you here. This will require learning a few other sleights, but that's a good thing, right? It gives you something extra to practice. So the first thing we're going to need to know how to do is dribble the cards. That is a dribble. Not to be confused with a spring, which looks like that. So how do we learn the dribble? Well, first our finger position. We're going to have our 3 fingers that are not our index finger, so our middle ring and pinky, on the short edge of the deck, far from our body. We're then going to have our thumb on the short edge close to us, but you'll notice that it's far closer to the left-hand corner of the deck. And here's what we do to start. We're just going to set the deck down, and we're just going to run our thumb up the back. Just like that, just right on the table. You'll be using your index finger to keep the middle of the deck down so the deck doesn't rise off the table. So you're pushing down with your index finger, but you're not trying to bend the deck. You're not trying to get a real bend in the deck, right? You're not exerting a whole lot. In fact, you'll find the better you get with card magic, the more relaxed you can keep everything, the better it's going to be. When we start, we tend to have this death grip on the cards because we're afraid of failure. We're afraid of dropping cards, but that actually hurts your magic. It makes your moves more difficult to perform. You only want to use as much pressure as is necessary. So you notice when I dribble the cards, like there's hardly a bend, right? So we're on the table, we're not trying to bend the cards, we're just trying to run our thumb up the back, just like this. Over and over and over again until this is smooth and steady. Now in the beginning, what's going to happen is you're going to get clumps of cards, right? And that's okay. With practice and time, you're going to learn to smooth this out. And once you do that, now we're going to come to the other hand. And we're going to do it right close to the hand. Now you notice none of the cards are coming off my fingers, they're just holding there. The cards are springing off the thumb, and the better you get with the dribble, the further you'll be able to move it away from your hand. Incidentally, the dribble is a great move to learn. You can do a whole lot of really cool things with a dribble, some of which we'll explore on this channel later. Now once we have the dribble down, we're going to get a pinky break under the top card, and we're going to do what's called the Bluff Pass. Once we have that break, we're going to reach over the top with our right hand, like this. And you'll notice when I grab that break, it just stays there. This is called a thumb break. We get a pinky break, and we just switch hands, and that will transfer it to a thumb break. We then get into position to dribble. We dribble, the spectator calls stop, and we let them take the card. Now, eventually they're going to have to look at this card to memorize it. When you see their eyes go to that card, because you have this break back here, what you're going to do is drop all of the cards on there except for one. I'm only holding one card here. Now you want to maintain this grip. See how I've got my fingers deep? If I angle out, you can't tell I'm only holding one card. So you don't want to switch to this grip. Even if you keep your fingers right, you don't want to do this because now everything is obvious. In Magic, angles matter. Later on the channel, we'll learn the Cardini change, which is a great intro to angles in card magic. Now once they look back up, you're going to extend the deck to them. You notice I kind of moved some fingers here in front to hide the discrepancy in how many cards there are. You're going to extend the deck to them and invite them to place the card back. They will do so. In this case, it is the King of Spades. Now, as you come back, you're going to bring your thumb back along the long edge of the deck. And as you come forward, you're going to kick up a packet of cards. Now, remember, their card is on top here. You're going to kick up a packet of cards, obviously not at this angle, this would make it tremendously obvious, but over here. As you come across, and you're just going to add your one card to it, that's going to make it look like you had a bunch of cards the entire time, when in reality, there's their card. As you come back, you're just adding those, and then you say, look, we're going to dribble the rest on top of your card like that. Now what you've accomplished with this is getting their card second from the top. I'm going to come back. I'm going to let it down for just a second. I'm going to steal off their card, which is the King of Spades. Incidentally, if you're doing color change, king into king is a terrible color change. Red into black is good, face card into number or vice versa is good, but spectators sometimes won't notice the difference if you're going king to king, right? It's hard to see what happened there. And look, through the magic of editing, we have a different top card. So our new top card is going to go on top of the deck. We're going to steal off their card with it, come over here, into our position, and that's when we execute the change. We say to the spectator, look, it's changed into your card, we've ditched the dirty card, you can even examine it, and you are 100% clean. So I hope you enjoy the trick, I hope you enjoy the shake change, I love color changes, I hope you get some use out of it, and I'll catch you guys again in the next video. Take care.